on this computer. All right, all right, all right. Thank you all so much for being here. Can you see the screen right now? You see the screen?
Yes.
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 Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for being part of today's session. Today, we're going to be talking about coaching and mentoring. This is the micro learning session 1 June. And again, I'm glad you all are here. That is who I am on the screen and how I can be contacted, as well as our homepage, in which you can go out and register for more courses if interested, similar to this. Let's see. All right. We're doing open forum discussion, right? As you see here, and then as you all are familiar with already, we are, in order to make this work well, please keep all of your cameras on, silence whatever phones and or distractions that may be happening in your life at this time. Commit to learning something new, possibly be active in the discussion itself, and avoiding assumptions about the cohorts and things like that, because ideally we are here to learn and or gain new knowledge. These are the topics that we will be discussing today. All right. So, as always, before we move forward, I'd like to hear from you all without trying to define what coaching is or what mentoring is. What thoughts come to your mind about either of the two topics?
What I know, teach someone else.
So from a mentor perspective, what you know, and what the knowledge transfer that happens.
Correct.
Okay. All right. What else?
And then I think coaching is more professional, and then mentoring kind of more personal support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Good. Good. So I agree with you both. All or some of those thoughts are true, right? About mentoring and coaching. Let's take a look at some. So if you are looking at what the purpose for coaching is and the purpose for mentoring, right? Performance improvement, skill development. The purpose of mentoring is career guidance and knowledge transfer. Remember, we talked about that, right? If you look at, for instance, what the focus should be, the focus for coaching should be very specific, goals or task oriented. This is where you are now. This is where we need to be by this time in your professional growth and or development, right? So specific goals, and they're very task oriented. Whereas the mentoring, excuse me, overall development of the person, the mentee, right, in their career advancement, overall development, right? And yes, you can, work with the mentee to kind of decide that, this is something you may want to do by next month or by in the 6 months or maybe in a year, that type of stuff, right? If you look at, for instance, expertise as a coach requires the mastery of coaching techniques, right? And the methodologies of coaching. Whereas though mentoring, you may be the subject matter expert in your field, right? In your organization, in your specific office, and you have specific industry expertise. So a couple of thoughts there as we move forward. So the importance of coaching and mentoring in leadership development, those you are wanting to grow and develop into leaders, right? So what the heck is, first foremost, is leadership development, right? So when we talk about leadership development, it is that process of enhancing individual skills, their knowledge, their abilities to effectively lead and manage teams of people or the organization as a whole, That's what leadership development is all about. Coaching and mentoring really nurtures that leadership growth, leadership development. It nurtures the enhancing of the skills, the self-awareness, the continuous learning, and it does that through a personalized guidance and feedback, right? Personalized guidance and feedback. That's where your coaching and mentoring comes into play into leadership development. So specific leadership coaching, y'all with me so far? Leadership coaching is really designed to transform leaders by clarifying goals, offering that unbiased feedback, that no filter feedback,
Right.
addressing the specific challenges, ensuring that personalized, outcome oriented support that's needed for the teams or even the organization to be effective, right? That specific mentoring, right? Leadership mentoring really is designed to foster the growth by allowing you, if you're the seasoned person within the office, to share that wisdom and experience, guiding the new mentee or the coachee in their progression throughout the organizational dynamics, enhancing confidence in that particular mentee or coachee, and their leadership skills overall. Coaching and mentoring, right? So they both offer continuous learning,
Right.
helping leaders adapt, innovate, and develop agile skills by providing feedback. They both provide feedback, which is very important to remember, and they both promote growth, and they both encourage that transformational development of that individual. Now, you heard me mention earlier about self-awareness. Well, you see in the questions there, it talks about self-awareness and emotional intelligence. I want to clarify just a little bit what both of those terms are as they relate to coaching and mentoring in leadership development. When we're talking about self-awareness, we're talking about that conscious knowledge and understanding that you have about you, your character, your feelings, your emotions, your motivation, your desires, and ultimately enabling you to better self-regulate and develop personally. You with me? Self-awareness is that conscious knowledge about you, right? Emotional intelligence is that ability to recognize, understand, and manage, and ultimately effectively use one's own emotions and the emotions of others to communicate and build a relationship. So if you are working in a team, if you are self-aware and you are emotionally intelligent, you're able to self-regulate through self-awareness and be able to see where other members of your team may be at this point in their growth and development. That's you being emotionally intelligent. So let's take a look at the questions. Number one, how can coaching and mentoring play a transformative role in shaping leaders' self-awareness and emotional intelligence, ultimately enhancing their overall leadership effectiveness? Now, we talked about self-awareness being that conscious knowledge of you and your beliefs and your characters, and we talked about what emotional intelligence looks like, especially if you are part of a team. Your ability to recognize and understand and or manage emotions of yourself and your team. What thoughts do you have?
Well, I was going off of the reading in the book,
Yeah, that's fine.
by offering a dynamic, personalized approach that nurtures your growth and potential.
Okay. So what does that mean to you?
For approach that nurtures your growth and potential, like you were saying, every time you reach a point, is that your potential, or do you have more to give? So that from that, or that comes from that continued education to bring yourself up even more. So if you're going to stop there, that continued education is going to stop. So if you keep that continued education going, your potential is going to climb even higher.
Right.
You know, whether somebody's teaching you that, well, somebody's got to teach you that, because it's coaching and mentoring, you know?
Yeah,
so
that's
where
right.
you get your coaching from? Oh, I'm getting my coaching from a book. Oh, I'm getting my coaching from somebody's teaching me. Oh, you know, you can get your coaching from anywhere, you know, in a lot of different places to get that potential up higher.
Yeah. And that's important because both, you know, they are both uh uh they both offer opportunities for growth, for development, right? Of your self-awareness and of your level of emotional intelligence. They both help in doing that. So good. What do you have
also,
on? I'm sorry, go ahead.
And also look at it like sports. When this conversation came up, it's like sports. You got a coach, you got a mentor, you know, a mentee that's coming up in the branches. They don't know, so that coach is showing him what to do, how to do it, and what to do about it.
That's right. And you know, one of the things I always tell folks is you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know about a topic until you decide to teach somebody about that topic.
Right.
And then you realize, whoa, you know, I never thought of it that way. Right. So it can help you as the coach or you as the mentor in your leadership growth and development along the way.
Yeah.
Oh, great point. Thank you. Great example as well. So how about how can coaching and mentoring help a business foster a culture of continuous learning? I think you touched on that a little bit there, Asbury. Culture of continuous learning and development, and build a pool of future leaders. How can these two tools help a company in their culture do that? What are your thoughts? How can they do that?
I think there was employee engagement and retention. So coaching and mentoring motivated the people to advance their career, the employer happiness, and then corporate the loyalty can rise with their help, this help. So
Mic on. Turn your mic on.
I'm trying to relieve some of that echoing. So forgive me on that. So if you could go back, if you go to that very first part of what you're saying, that first sentence.
Yeah, that is employee engagement and retention. The state of the company.
I'm with you. Okay. All right. Yeah. So employee engagement and retention. How we as mentors and coaches engage with the folks that we are around, right? So as an organization, the culture of, if the organizational culture is one that supports continuous learning, continuous education, professional development, and all those things, that's going to help me as the coach and or the mentor to be able to coach and mentor those that may be up and coming, new to the organization, those may be in the organization that need some of that motivation to keep going. Because ideally, you know, I represent the company. I represent the culture within the company. Hopefully, it's a very positive culture in the organization, and that the positive culture in the organization is one that supports continuous, ongoing learning, development, culture of inclusivity. You know what I mean? All those things that are important to a successful organization culture. So,
and this is what the company taught you to teach somebody else.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, good. Good, good, good. Nice. Let's look at the next topic. Understanding the coaching and mentoring process, right? The process. So when we're talking about coaching and mentoring, it involves a structured, purposeful interaction. Structured and purposeful. This is the structure I'm going to use, and this is the reason why I'm doing it this way, right? Tailored to the individual, their individual needs, providing their needs in being provided direction, guidance, support, feedback, you know, ultimately to foster their personal and or professional growth. So in coaching, we have to remember that a trusting relationship has to be established, in one which that the coach can facilitate self-awareness and introspection, right? That reflection, that internal reflection. The coach facilitates that of the member, right? And they do that because they have to be able to practice things like active listening. They have to be able to practice things like asking the right, powerful questions. And through that is, you know, that personalized action plan for that mentee can be created, ultimately helping them to achieve their goals.
Right.
But that coach has to be able to do that, right? Whereas mentoring is going to focus more on nurturing a longer-term relationship where an experienced mentor provides that guidance and feedback and support for that personal growth and development. So slightly different, right? One is what you're relying on the person you're coaching, right? And the other one is you're relying on the person doing the mentoring to support that personal and professional growth. Coaching and mentoring, they both absolutely will involve regular interactions and assessment. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a schedule. For instance, if you are a coach for somebody, chances are you're going to want to have a regularly scheduled time to meet with them, right?
Right.
But if you're mentoring somebody, that mentoring can happen anytime, anywhere in the organization, inside or outside the organization, right? So coaching and mentoring both involve that regular interactions and assessments, right? That assessments piece is, if you are a coach for somebody, you're going to want to document what we talked about, because I need to be able to go back to that and utilize that as our goal, right? Well, we talked about this last week. This was a timeline. These were some of your constraints. Where are you now with that, right? Whereas, you know, in the mentoring session, that might not be as structured, right? But, you know, with a focus on open communication to foster that trust and encourage that sharing and challenging, sharing of the challenges and successes is really the ultimate goal for both of those during that particular time, right? So what does that take? What does that take to accomplish those type of things, right? It takes an active commitment and engagement. Exactly. For both parties, right? This is crucial for both parties in the coaching and in the mentoring sessions, right? With a focus on feedback, openness, mutual respect, and effective development. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. What questions do you have on that so far before we get to the questions? Any questions? Any thoughts? Any additions?
No, I don't have any.
All right, let's take a look at the questions. Yuko, how about number one? Question number one. I think I gotta turn off my mic so you can.
Okay. So how does the coaching? So coaching task and I said before the performance and focus. And mentoring personal relationship. So mentor generated more experience in the employee or industry professional trust and respect often lead to more personal friendship.
Yeah. So those are some of the differences. Yeah, absolutely. How would you say can the individuals within that relationship leverage the strengths of each approach, right? We know that they do these things. Well, how can we ensure by doing these things, we are leveraging the strengths of these things, right? For instance, we know that the coaching and mentoring involves a structured, purposeful interactions. Those are positive. Those are, structure is a strength, right? How can we say, you know what, I'm gonna make this a structured approach, and how will that help the individual? Yuko.
One more, please.
How can we utilize something like, for instance, we know coaching and mentoring involves structure. How would we leverage structure? How would we use structure to make this a successful mentoring or coaching event?
Okay. I think focus on the goals. The goal is so really focus to the my path.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
Like a moment.
Yeah. So keeping the goals in mind.
Yes, sir.
As you move forward. Good. Great. Yeah, I agree with that. Any thoughts on that, Asbury?
Keeping the goals in your face will help you to reach those goals. It's almost like a dream. You have a dream, you want to reach that goal, you want to try and reach that goal as the best way you can. And stay focused with it.
And how would you yeah. And if, for instance, we say purposeful interactions, how would we utilize that purposeful interactions to make this a successful coaching or mentoring session? What would you do?
And as far as a coach or a mentor?
Both are either or. Yeah, either or. How would your purposeful interactions benefit the greater good? Because you can let them go out there and go off on their own and do their own thing, but that's not going to help.
Can't do that.
Right. Okay. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Because it will really mess up something.
Yeah.
So it has to be done within the house. I gotta be able to do. Well, I'm talking about myself and what I do. Yeah. I have to teach my guys. I have to teach my guys step by step what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
So that I can send them out there without being messing up.
Yeah.
So me being a coach at the particular time, I have to step by step do it in a safe manner way for them to implement that process.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. So if you look at, for instance, question number 3, and it's for both of you. If you look at question number 3, for instance, in what ways can an individual's role shift between being a coach and a mentor in different contexts, right? And then how, can understanding how to be able to move between the two enhance the overall impact of that engagement? First and foremost, I guess, can a person be a coach and a mentor?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, my typing skills are not great.
Mm.
So I got a mentor that types really fast. So he shows me how to do this, which I show him how to do something else. So our roles switch back and forth in this process.
Right. So how about your role as a coach and a mentor? Your role.
What my role as a coach?
Right.
Well, like I said, I'm teaching him, and then I sit back and he teaches me. I am the mentor.
Okay. So in that role, you play both the coach and the mentor.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
There's things that he knows that I don't know.
Right.
For the same field that we're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I sit back and say, "Oh, okay, I got it now.
Yeah.
All right, I got it now." So now I have the knowledge.
Right. Yeah. That's good. And that absolutely is possible. That could happen. You could be one person in a relationship with another person in which you are absolutely in the mentee role.
Yeah. Engineer.
Right. You have to sit back and say, "Hey, you got this." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got this. I'm tuning into what you got going on because this is your area of expertise.
Here we got engineers coming at us, asking us questions.
Yeah.
I'm not the engineer. You got this. You went to school for all of this.
Right.
But yet you coming at me, wanting me to teach you how to do this.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
our roles change big time, man.
Yeah, they can. And it's important to understand how that fluidity is ultimately enhances the relationship, because it does. If people don't get in their feelings about, having to step back sometimes and listen to other people, as we talked about that active listening process.
Right.
If people don't get in their feelings, let me tell you, man, that's a great opportunity to do some learning.
Yes, sir.
Great opportunity.
But
and that might happen once a week, or that might happen a couple of times out of the week.
Every time we get in a meeting. The meeting is
exactly.
Where I'm at, our meetings are called because they don't know. They want to ask the field guys how to do something. How is it done?
Right.
Where do we go? What you do? How do you turn the valve off? How do you fix this?
Right.
You the engineer.
Yeah. Right.
So that's what our meetings are based on.
Good. Great example as well. How about you, Yuko? What are your thoughts?
Yes.
If you look at question number 2. Question number 2.
Okay. So reflecting
on your relationships. What have you experienced? What have you witnessed?
Yes, and I think empathy and understanding. So the mentor showed the general empathy. So participating during challenging times for the mentee, providing support and encouragement that went beyond the professional advice.
So go back to the first part of that again for me.
Empathy and understanding.
Okay. So empathy and understanding are elements that you've seen and or witnessed that foster trust and effective communication.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, good. I like that. Good stuff. All right. Let's take a look at the next question. Exploring different coaching and mentoring models. Coaching models. The GROW model that you see up there, that GROW model is probably the most popular of coaching models. You've probably seen or heard that before. That GROW model, the acronym GROW is a goal, reality, options, will. Goal, reality, options, will. That's a structured approach. Remember, I talked about earlier, we have to have a structured approach to coaching and mentoring, right? So this GROW model is one of the many models that are out there, right? The guides the coachees in setting their goals, assessing their reality, exploring the options that may present itself as they're moving through their development, and also committing to that action or that plan for their development, right? So that's that goal, reality, options, and they got to be willing to commit, right, to move forward. Now, if we're talking about solutions-focused coaching, right, that really emphasizes the identification of solutions over dwelling on the problem. All right, I'm gonna say that again. Identify solutions rather than dwelling on the problems. What that does is it helps the coachee envision their preferred future. Remember, you're in the role of the coach, and you are trying to help them envision their preferred future, build on their strengths, and develop practical strategies for achieving those goals as quickly as possible, really, right? If you're looking at transactional coaching, establishes clear expectations and agreements between the coach and the coachee. Coaches offer the guidance, offers the feedback based on performance against the agreement. This is what we said we're doing by next month, right? Yeah. We discussed this, right? So sometimes you got to have that candid transactional feedback with them. This is what we said we agreed on that we were going to have done in your development, in your growth by next month. And in doing that, you really do foster accountability in their skill development. Now, when we're talking about mentoring models, again, coaching models, this is only 3 of probably about 50 out there on the market out there that you can definitely check out. Same thing with mentoring models, right? There's only 3 of them that we'll just touch on here. But when we're looking for a deep, personalized mentor-mentee relationship, fostering that skill development, that career navigation, and that traditional one-on-one mentoring, enriching with insights and expertise. That's where that one-on-one mentoring session comes into play, that one-on-one. I have a couple of people that I meet with one-on-one over coffee many times out here in Vegas because they prefer that one-on-one development.
Right.
It's great because they're comfortable with me. I'm comfortable with them. We're in a setting where we're both comfortable and we can just talk about things that's going on with them.
And a lot of people understand a whole lot better when it's one-on-one.
When it's one-on-one. Now, keep in mind, like for instance, I thrive in both the one-on-one and in the group mentoring, right? And I'll explain that in a minute. But when we're looking at group mentoring, right? That group mentoring can cultivate dynamic learning environment, right? Because it leverages that collective wisdom. Think about that. That collective wisdom, diverse perspectives, fostering that peer learning and the collaboration that has to happen or that occurs naturally among the mentees. So me as a mentor, if I have a group setting, I'll give you an example. About 2 days ago, I became a Community College of Southern Nevada volunteer mentor. So I have 3 mentees assigned to me that I need to meet with them virtually or in person once every term. Those 3, one-on-one. About 2 days ago, I went to the college campus and I had 10 mentees in a circle as a group mentoring session. and it was phenomenal, right? So I can operate in both venues pretty good, but I really enjoy that group setting, mainly because I'm an auditory learner.
Mm-hmm.
That means I listen well, and I thrive through listening and picking up on what's going on in the amongst the group.
Right.
So that was an example of a group mentoring session, and again, it worked really well. But if I ask you, what do you think a reverse mentoring looks like? What would you say? What would that look like?
Reverse mentor, somebody teaching you or mentoring you.
Yeah. Any examples?
Yeah, my little brother mentoring me.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Yuko?
Yeah, this is each mentoring and mentor running each other. So running from you, you running from me, kind of stuff. Develop the both of our intelligence, emotional intelligence. You said kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And we often see this scenario in, like, if we're in the workplace, right? You got the 22-year-old who just started in your office, right? They just started last week. But they come in there with a certain level of knowledge about technology.
Yeah.
That you don't possess. What a perfect opportunity to exchange that knowledge with the younger individuals, mentoring the senior members in the area, in technology, in things like a generational understanding. You know, that whole thing of, well, you young guys don't understand. And the young guys think, well, you old guys just don't get it.
Yeah,
right? That's an amazing opportunity to practice reverse mentoring, because there are going to be knowledge gaps that exist between you and the younger mentee. That's just a fact. And using reverse mentoring will help out with that immensely. Yeah. Right. So let's look at question number 2. Question number 2, we'll look at that together. How can being aware of various mentoring and coaching models, we only touched on 3 there, or 3 of each, coaching and mentoring models, help you better adapt your style to a particular requirement and or preferences of the people that you are coaching and mentoring? How does knowledge of more than one help you?
Man, anytime you got knowledge, man, it's always going to help you. Whether you're mentoring or a coach, you got the knowledge. You're gonna go further and further. Being various mentoring and like I said, coaching, like I said, if you know more than just one, it's like having a language. If you know one language, you only go in one place. But if you know multi languages, you're gonna go different places.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So being versed in multiple types of coaching and mentoring models will allow you to be a better supervisor, be a better foreman, be a better leader, be a better director, because the reality of it is you might have 10 individual members on your team that require 10
different
approaches.
Yes.
How they learn and develop, and how you can coach and or mentor them. That's a huge advantage.
If I'm only teaching one way, we're gonna knock heads.
That's a huge advantage. Yeah, absolutely. Because like I mentioned, me being an auditory learner, somebody else might be more of a hands-on person, right? See by doing, right? To see it in it, right? But you have to know that. And you remember me talking about that emotional intelligence. You have to be able to see that mentee is not responding to this type of coaching or mentoring, right? But that's because you have self-awareness. you recognize, you know what? This person might not be an auditory learner like me.
Mm-hmm.
They might be kinesthetic. You know, they may have to write things down.
Right.
Right. So good. Yeah. Good. All right. Let's look at, y'all did good on that. I like that. That was a great discussion.
You go, Dave.
Ethical, right? Ethical considerations in coaching and mentoring. That is a reality that we have to face, y'all. Ethical considerations. Remember, you are being one-on-one with this person at some point, probably multiple times throughout the day, multiple times throughout your week, multiple times throughout your year. So we have to understand things like the emotional commitments that we have, right? I'm sorry, the ethical commitments that we have. So when we're talking about ethical commitments, what we're really talking about is ensuring trust between the two of us, right? What you and I talk about, we can't be out here talking about with somebody else.
Right.
Right. We have to be able to determine, to demonstrate integrity. You know, you can count on me to do this. Don't worry about it. I got this. I got you. Right. And the well-being in the coaching and mentoring relationship, you have to demonstrate due care with that person. You can't not care about them, right? To be a mentor or to be a coach to them.
You got to care, man.
Right. You can't not care about them, right? Because you have to care about their well-being, because that drives their successes in their development, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So awareness of those ethical considerations, right? That fosters the respect, that fosters the respectful, fair, and integrity-based relationship, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. Ethics in coaching and mentoring really demand clear guidance. Clear guidance. Because keep in mind, you as the coach or you as the mentor, you might be that person's supervisor.
Right.
Right? So you already have that established relationship there, but you don't want them to take advantage of you as the coach or the mentor. And you don't want to take advantage of them in their growth and development.
Right.
So we have to focus in on confidentiality, privacy, respecting each other's boundaries, right? And when we're balancing empathy and we're balancing that with professionalism, that really reinforces the ethical integrity and prioritizing their growth and trust throughout the relationship. But we have to have clear guidance, right? Transparency in coaching and mentoring really does build trust, credibility, is rooted in authenticity and openness about qualifications. Am I really qualified to be this person's mentor? Am I really in the right position to be this person's coach? Yeah. Do I have the experience to be to lead, guide, and develop this person? Right. And also, too, keep in mind, understanding what your biases might be. Ooh, right? Well, I don't really like working with people from New York.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really like working with women. I don't really like work. You got to understand what your biases are. Because in a coaching and mentoring relationship, again, we have to establish trust. We have to utilize integrity. We have to remember that we have to keep their well-being in mind in the relationship. Right? So, and we have to do that while fostering that meaningful development, right? We have to maintain that transparency. Man, when we're thinking about ethical considerations, when we're thinking about ethical coaches and mentors, right? We're prioritizing the cultural awareness. What does that look like? Well, I don't really like dealing with people from the UK. I don't like really dealing with people from Asia. I don't really like dealing with people from South America. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they got different values. They got different cultural beliefs than I do. But we can't do that, right?
No.
We have to embrace diversity. to create an inclusive environment. We have to foster belonging. We have to foster understanding. Ultimately, that's going to enrich the guidance that we give them, and that tailored, and that guidance is going to be what's tailored to their individual successes in their individual contexts. Mm-hmm. So also regular assessments, regular self-assessments. You as the coach, you as the mentor. Regular self-assessments really is going to ensure the ethical integrity in coaching and mentoring by identifying and mitigating, getting rid of the potential challenges that you might face. We talked about a couple of them already. Cultural biases, right? Trust, credibility, right? We talked about that. It's going to help really remove that stuff when you're doing regular, appropriate, I should say, too, self-assessments as a coach, as a mentor. Ultimately, that's going to guide the mentee or the coachee with with a level of dedication to them that's unmatched. So, regular self-assessments is going to be critical. So let's talk about the questions there. So again, we're talking about more we're talking about ethics.
Ethics.
Right? Ethics. Right? So we look at question number 1. What possible moral conundrums or moral situations really might occur in the coaching mentor setting? And how can you as the practitioner deal with these situations while honoring the obligations of your relationship? Y'all with me? Y'all understand that? Right?
Oh, big words,
what are some moral situations that you might find, right, that might come up in that setting, and you as the coach or you as the mentor have to handle that? Give it to me. What you got?
What you got, Yuko? I don't know that one, man. That's
Think about what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
Right? Look at you as a male, and the person that you are coaching is a female.
Mentoring setting,
What kind of things could crop up?
Possible one of them. Liking one another.
Oh.
A relationship.
Man,
and all
she
sure
is cute.
Wow.
Mentor,
or she's not what I'm looking for.
My mentor sure is handsome.
What I want, because she ain't the one that I, want be on my team.
Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
that stuff can happen. If you're not careful as the coach or the mentor, things can come up like that you have to be prepared. And unfortunately, our news media is full of people demonstrating bad behaviors in these types of situations. So unfortunate, because the mentee or the coachee deserves so much better, right? But when you put yourselves in situations like that, if you're not morally sound, then you could find yourself on the negative side of an ethical activity.
Negative side.
Right. So what else? What else? Yuko, what other things you think of that could be ethically a problem? And that's just the male and the female situation. That's just, in supervisory role. But how about the person who's the coach or the mentee, and the person that the coach or the mentor, and they're coaching someone who's responsible for the business finances? What are your thoughts, Yuko?
How's that money? How's that money? Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, Yuko?
Okay, so a mentor intentionally dismisses a mentee's cultural perspective on advice based on their cultural norms.
Okay. I did not think that about that. But what it sounds like you're talking about, go ahead and turn off your mic. What it sounds like you're talking about is when, as an example, the mentee or the coach doesn't respect the cultural background, for instance, of the person that they are mentoring.
Yes, like a norms, cultural norms.
Yeah.
Right. And that could create a bit of
Racism.
an ethical issue as well. That could definitely
Yeah,
create
racism.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, now in the original scenario that I posed there earlier, if I'm coaching the person that's responsible for the finances of the company, and I know I'm in logistics and supply chain, and I really do need some extra money for my area,
Yes.
right? Somebody could find themselves on the wrong side of that ethical conundrum, right? So we got to be mindful of that as coaches and mentors, right? And I know Yuko, you touched on a little bit about the cultural and contextual differences and how that might affect uh, the relationship. And it absolutely can be true, because when we're talking about being inclusive and and demonstrating cultural sensitivity, which, like in question number 3, when we're talking about those things, we have to make sure that everybody has equal access. Everybody has to have equal access to the money, to the services, to the resources, all those things. And that could create, that particular situation is even with the finance piece, that could create a moral conundrum, right? But you know yourself, because we talked about self-awareness. You know how far you are willing to allow a situation to continue. That's completely in your ballpark, and you have to exercise the best judgment necessary, right? All right.
Exactly.
These
Conundrum.
were the topics we chatted about today. This is a brief summary. This is just a reminder of the next session that we've got scheduled. DEIA, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility, scheduled for 15 June. Feel free to go out and enroll. Go out and enroll in that. Asbury, let me know if you run into any issues. If you want to enroll, let me know if you run into any issues with that. We can sort it out. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Then moving forward, each of you will receive a certificate with your name, your information about this particular course.
Do you know these courses going in my office, right?
It's a good place to put them.
Yes, sir.
Good place
Yes,
to put
sir.
them. Yeah. So
Yeah.
with that, what question, let me stop sharing here. What additional questions would you all have about the topics that we talked about today?
We talk about coaching and mentor, how different. Because I didn't, I'm not sure for specifically, how different. But now, today, I learned so much.
Yeah. And
I want to ask you a personal question.
okay.
Have you ever been a coach or mentor to anyone?
I think so. I didn't.
Think so, you know.
I think, yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, you had somebody in your office that was new at some point, right? When you were working in Japan, many
There
times.
you go. That's what I was getting at.
Yes.
Right.
I did. But that time, I didn't aware that was a coaching or mentor. But now, reflecting that time, oh, that was a maybe mentor. I did mentor.
Yeah.
To her.
You know?
Yeah. 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 That's great.
That's great.
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
I asked that question because Marvin is always coaching you. And I don't know if you're coaching him, mentoring him. So,
you know, everybody wins. Right? That's great stuff.
That's why I brought that question up.
Yeah. Well, again, team, thank y'all so much for joining. And we'll definitely get your certificates out to you as soon as possible. Again, the 15 June is still available, and you could probably wait a day or so and go out and try to register. Perfectly okay. We got plenty of time. And then we'll get that going. And this particular session will also be made available on my YouTube site. So you could, if you need to go back and reflect on some of the thoughts that you may have had, you could definitely do that on the YouTube site out there. So unless there's no other questions, y'all have a fantastic weekend.
Hey, you guys do the same.
All right, be safe.
Thank you, guys.
Love you too.
Love you too. All right.